allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I ask the clerk to read the announcements, I just want to take a moment to thank the college for hosting us today and also to acknowledge. Hold on. All right, I'm going to have to bring it closer. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So before I ask the clerk to read the announcements, I just want to thank the college for hosting us today and to acknowledge the service of Dr. Roberts, who we all know will be retiring at the end of the month. Under his leadership, SUNY Ulster was recognized as the best community college in New York State in 2020 and 2021, a huge accomplishment, and I know it's a gem of our county, and we all feel that way. And we look forward to working with the new president, Dr. Allison Buckley, in the coming years. Clerk Fabella, would you please read the announcements?
Get it. Announcements, fire evacuation plan. Please note that in the event of an emergency, the fire department has requested that legislators and all others move to the adjacent parking lot in order not to impede the firefighters in their duties. Cell phones, please silence cell phones for the duration of the public hearings and of session. Microphones, please be reminded to use your microphones when speaking so that you are recorded for the official record. Roll call. Bartels?
Here.
Cahill?
Here.
Corcoran?
Here.
Criswell?
Here.
Erner?
Here.
Fabiano?
Here.
Caveras? Green? Hansett? Hebner? Hewitt? Levine? Litz? Lopez? Maloney? Nolan? Petit? Roberts? Ronk?
Present.
Sperry? Stewart? Uchatel? And Walter. 23 present and 0 absent.
Thank you. We have 2 public hearings today. I'd like to now call the first public hearing to order. Clerk Fabella, would you please read the title?
Absolutely. Tonight's first public hearing is on the sale and/or transfer of lands owned by Ulster County located at 60 to 64 Boyce Lane in the town of Ulster.
Do we have any speakers signed up today?
There are no speakers signed up. We are running call-in studio, but there's nobody calling in.
Okay. Is there anyone present who hasn't signed up to speak that would like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, I would entertain a moment.
Madam Chairwoman, I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Second, Legislator Fabiano. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. We'll now move to our second public hearing. Clerk Fabella, please read the title.
Tonight's second public hearing is on proposed local law number 8 of 2022, a local law adopting amendments to the New York State Public Officers Law, Section 103, expanding the use of video conferencing at public meetings.
Do we have any speakers signed up for the second public hearing?
There are no speakers signed up for this public hearing.
Is there anyone on call-in studio?
Not for the public hearing.
Recognizing a member of the public, would you please come forward? Where's the microphone? Oh, right there. Just please state your name, and you'll have three minutes to speak. I'm not sure who's keeping time. There's a microphone right there, Mr. Walker.
My name is Lanny Walter from Saugerties. I hope this is appreciated. If not, I apologize. I'm looking at this resolution, and subsection A says, members of a given body shall be physically present at meetings unless allowed remote attendance at locations that do not allow for in-person physical attendance by the public. comma, under extraordinary circumstances. I think that's hard to understand. I didn't understand it as I read it initially. And I would like to suggest that it read, members of a given body shall be physically present at meetings under potentially extraordinary circumstances unless allowed remote attendance by the person authorized to make that determination under this regulation at locations that do not allow for in-person physical attendance by the public. I think if you process that, you'll see that it really does come across much more clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present that would like to speak on this subject that has not signed up? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Madam Chairwoman, I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Is there a second? All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
The public hearing is adjourned. We have a couple birthdays this month. I'd like to recognize legislator Chris Hewitt. Happy birthday, July 4th. Legislator Eve Walter, July 5th. And I will now entertain a motion to dispense with reading of the minutes.
Chair Bartels on July 7th.
Thank you.
I like the sharing.
I feel like we're a team here. Okay, motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor of dispensing with the reading of the minutes?
Aye.
Please take note that there are various correspondence on file, and don't hesitate to reach out to the clerk if you'd like to see any of those correspondence in detail. Okay, now we're going to open the floor to public comment for those agenda items on tonight's agenda. You'll have up to 3 minutes to speak. Please keep note of the timekeeper across the room. Is there anyone signed up for public comment?
There is one person signed up for public comment, and that is on call-in studio, and it is Joe DeFalco.
Mr. DeFalco? Mr. DeFalco? Stand by for technical difficulties. We do? We can move to that. We're going to hold on call-in studio for a moment and move to in-person unless... Problem with my mic. Okay. I was gonna ask to trade with legislator Litz. Okay, we'll stick with that. Can you hear me on call-in studio?
Sir? Hello, sir, can you hear us?
That was Herbie. Clerk Mahler, why don't we? Okay, so I was going to say let's move to in person, although we'll have to give them a microphone. We do have someone signed up in person. We'll give that.
There are 2 speakers
Hello?
signed up. Oh, Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear.
We can hear you.
I don't know what's going on.
Is there someone speaking to Ms. DeFalco that can tell her she can be heard?
Can't hear you.
Clerk Tantillo, if you can hear me, can you tell Ms. DeFalco that we can hear her? All right, we're gonna move to in-person comment.
The first speaker signed up is Chris Allen.
Okay, just please state your name for the microphone again, and you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Chris Allen. I used to represent Legislative District 2 back from 2014 through 2017. I'm urging everybody to vote for Resolution 334, making the villages whole for collection of village property taxes. This was something, when I represented the village of Saugerties, that I always voted yes on, as did my fellow Ellenville legislator, T.J. Briggs. Through the series of New York State tax collection laws, the village of New Paltz uses subsection 1011. They use a private vendor. It's not really an issue for them. They actually receive 110% return on the tax sale process. Saugerties, it wasn't much of an issue other than one property that was the former Dragon Inn on Burt Street 9W. There was about 7 to 8 years of delinquent taxes, which were settled about 4 years ago. On my way out the door in the following year, 2017, 2018, I had heard that the Mike Hine administration and the finance department made an agreement with the villages through several village board members in Saugerties that in the 2020 budget that there was an arrangement made that it was going to be in the Mike Hine budget of 2020 that they were going to make the villages whole. Mike Hine left and went on to a job up in Albany, and so now here we are. At that time, we used to get 9 votes every year on it, and actually the Village of New Paltz legislator used to vote no on it. But I think Ellenville, we had the Ellenville Millions, the Ellenville Million when they didn't get the casino, and Ellenville still, the economy isn't where we'd all like it to be. This is going to really benefit the village of Ellenville, which that part of Ulster County deserves to have as much economic stimulation as they can. There is one property that's in question that's a large car dump where there's some cleanup issues, but I believe that that can be taken care of, and this will be good for the county and especially for the Ellenville Southern Ulster County area. In Saugerties, it's not much of an issue, but this whole procedure will help both the village of Saugerties and the village of Ellenville. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
The next speaker signed up is Supervisor Baden.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here to speak tonight on Resolution 398, the sales tax agreement. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but also I know all the other supervisors and mayors. We had our meeting, our association meeting this morning, and everyone is in support of this. We asked for the legislature to consider and adopt this tonight. The 1% that the towns and villages will get will mean an ease in our budgets for next year. This will allow us to pay for things that were not expected at the beginning of this year. Fuel increases, paving increases, just about everything you can think of increases. So we thank you for considering this, and we hope you'll adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers signed up in person?
There are no other speakers signed up in person.
Do we have Mr. Falco still on the line?
Our clerk has been speaking with her, and she still can't hear us. We can try it again. She's there.
Okay, let's give it a try again. If our clerk's been speaking with her.
Okay. This is Ellen DeFalco. I don't know whether you can hear me or not, but I'm going to thank you for the opportunity to address this legislative body tonight. I would like to go on record being opposed to resolution number 351, authorizing the Department of Planning to submit an application to the New York State Climate Smart Communities Grant Program for renewable energy equipment at the Golden Hill housing site. The language in this resolution refers to the housing development at the former Ulster County Jail as low-income housing. And that is very troubling, considering that this housing project was dubbed affordable, mixed-income, intergenerational, and workforce housing since the inception to meet the needs of the housing shortage in Ulster County. Not once was it tagged low income. Renewable energy sources for solar arrays and efficient heat pumps through this grant program, and the demolition of the former jail with $1.3 million in ARPA funds should be the developer's responsibility, not the county's. Residents have asked at numerous community forums what type of housing project is planned. The public, the residents, and stakeholders who live near this development have a right to know. We never got a clear response. Penrose and the county's Housing Development Corporation have deceived the public and misrepresented the facts related to the development of this housing project. This resolution should not be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else on call-in studio signed up?
We do not.
Okay, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this subject that has not signed up? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda point. Leader Hepner, is there any resolutions moving in or out of consent?
Yes, I'd like to move resolutions number 344, 379, and 349 from consent to non-consent, as well as resolutions number 341 and 378 from non-consent to consent.
Legislator Runk? No objection.
No objection.
Okay. All those in favor of amending the consent and non-consent agendas as proposed?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay, so we'll now move on to the consent agenda. All those in favor of the consent agenda?
On the consent agenda, we are a short yes.
On the consent agenda, we're also a short yes.
Great.
The resolutions are adopted 23-0. I'm going to put this because now I need it the whole time.
Okay.
Doesn't fit. Okay.
Okay, moving on to the non-consent agenda.
Okay, Resolution 14, authorizing the termination of a lease agreement with CPR Kingston LLC Bank for space used by the Board of Elections.
Legislator Maloney. Do you have a microphone? Oh, no, we're going to pass this to you. It's coming over.
This just makes you all appreciate me more.
I was going to say, how's that possible? Okay, Van.
It's on? It's on? So I'm a no on this because I don't think we ever should have left the lease. I wasn't here to talk about it. I know Legislator Ronk did a really good job of trying to alarm and educate his colleagues on what a bizarre lease we're entering. I don't believe we have any triple net leases going right now. We may have had a pretty bad looking one years ago that we got out of. But a triple net lease is not something for a government. That's what we're entering into. It's the exact opposite of what we're leaving with this lease. Triple net lease is where you pay for a bunch of things for the person you're renting from. School and property taxes, we're not going to be paying ourselves. water sewer, general repairs, maintenance to the exterior. These are all things that were covered in the lease we're leaving, but now we're paying a large percentage of. Property insurance, snow, lawn care, landscaping, and on top of that, a property management fee on top. We're already doing all the property management. We're then going to give them even more money. The rent's going to get up to about $105,000 a year. It's just amazing. The person that negotiated this lease, believe it or not, has 2 other lucrative leases. We only have 4 or 5. One of them's Vandale Properties. We only have a couple of leases. The person that negotiated on behalf of these people is the same person that has multiple leases and the same person that owns a company that oversees 701 Grand Avenue. How can that be? How is one guy involved in all those ways, making out left and right? And we just sit up here. You wonder why there's nobody here besides a handful of people that are involved? Because we never do anything. We're a rubber stamp. We never question anything. We don't question the fact that this is a relative of the executive. Higginsville Station. All I hear is one individual's name. Here's something I printed off of Nina's website, right online. The main person that owns this, Higginsville Station, is a relative of the executive, a close relative of the executive. Were we told that when we gave this sweetheart deal away? I'd love to know. Now I hear there's other renters in that building. So after 5 years, we're going to have almost paid off what these 2 individuals paid for the building. If the other 2/3 of the building gets rented the same way, I'd love to see it. They'll never let us, and we don't have any jurisdiction to probably find out. Is the other leases going to look exactly like this? I doubt it. I doubt they're paying as much as we are. And if they are, then you're talking about an investment. It'd be like buying a house for $100,000 and renting it out for 5 years and being able to pay it off 3 times. Buy a house for $100,000 and get $8,000, $9,000 a month for rent. It's insanity what we're doing right here with this lease. There's nepotism, and it shouldn't even have gotten to this point where I had to look at what a bad deal this was and then go try to figure out why it's such a bad deal and see all these names involved in it. Because you should have listened to Ken and just said no, because he pointed all these things out. The triple net lease, the fact that it was above market rate. None of these things make any sense. Franchises like Subway enter triple net leases for benefits that aren't here for us. It's just amazing. It's just amazing what a bad deal this is, and the names that I'm seeing. 701, one of the individuals that oversees 701 Grand Avenue, the property that hasn't paid their taxes to the $10 million that we still aren't getting to the bottom of. That's who we brought in to negotiate this lease on behalf of a close family member of the executive. It's just shameful. I'll be a no.
Legislator Runk?
Thank you. I'm actually going to be a yes tonight on this for many of the same reasons that Joe just talked about being a no for. You know, I feel like it was right here a year ago that we were coerced into supporting a lease on the new building, you know, that had a lot of problems with it. And we were coerced into it by saying it was some sort of an emergency, that we had to get it done immediately because we had to move the machines in December, and we had to do this, and we had to do that. We were running out of time. And that's why we didn't have to, you know, wait for pesky things like answers to all the questions that I had. Now here we are, a year later, and we're passing a resolution to end the current lease because after a year, the emergency's finally over, and the Board of Elections is going to be moving into their new space, except they're not moving, you know, into the new space with the machines yet because we're in the middle of election season, which we were told that they could not move while we were in the middle of an election season. You know, now we're actually moving at a worse time because we've got, you know, we've had 2 primaries this year and a general election, which is, you know, 1 more primary than we normally have. Even in a year like last year when they said that we were, you know, this next year was going to be better to move because we couldn't move during a presidential election, all these other things. I'm reflecting on the fact that here we are a year later. The emergency wasn't really an emergency. It took a year for them to get into the new building, even though we had all these questions. It wasn't just me. There were other legislators that had the same questions that I had. I also remember them saying, well, we don't really want this space anyway, so, you know, it's bad space. That I heard things about, you know, rodents that were dead and their ceiling was caving in, all kinds of doom and gloom about how terrible the location was, you know, the Wall Street property. And, you know, lo and behold, I think it was last month, we got a letter from the DA's office saying, well, don't cancel that lease, we might want that property. Which I feel like was what myself and several other legislators said was the plan all along, was to use that for different space now that we were getting the Board of Elections out of there at a, you know, above market rate triple net lease. So I'm glad that we're ending this lease. I'm glad that we're no longer going to be paying double for the property that, for the office of the Board of Elections, because that's what we've been doing and what we would continue to do if we kept this building. Thank you.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes with 1 no. Legislator Maloney.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted 22 to 1. The next resolution is 288, requiring the reporting of wages for employees of contractors and subcontractors that provide services to the County of Ulster, adopting updated procurement manual pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 104B.
On the resolution?
We are a short yes with 1 no. Legislator Gavaris.
We're a short no.
The resolution is adopted 15 to 8. Resolution 308, 309, and 310 were all postponed in the Ways and Means Committee. The next resolution is 339, approving the execution of a contract for $1,364,900 entered into by the county, Gorick Construction Company, Inc., Department of Public Works.
Legislator Green?
Thank you. I just want to double check. Was 308 moved into consent?
Postponed.
It was postponed. Okay. I can't always hear, so thank you.
308, 309, and 310 were postponed.
Oh,
As a block.
all right.
in Ways and Means.
Bring it up in that context then.
On the Legislator Maloney?
The people of this county, including us, were told this demo was going to be done by Penrose, the developer, who now we're trying to push through some bizarre multi-million-dollar grant as well. Nothing about this project has gone according to what we were told, and at the end of the day, I'm struggling to find any skin in the game for this developer. We just keep finding ways. Now we're going to own the solar that we're pay for it and own it that we're putting on there for them too with this next vote coming down the line. It also appears that in the appraisal we finally received that the developer did themselves, it was so low, and one of the reasons was they anticipated doing the demo, and now we're doing it. We're still working off that appraisal, but we're going to get another one, don't worry. Problem is, written into the Housing Corporation's bylaws, they don't have to use that second appraisal. So this and this grant is the last jurisdictional oversight us as legislators have to this project. It's been passed along to this Housing Corp. So once we approve this and we go and spend more tax dollars on the demo and we approve this grant and do even more there, there's nothing that brings them back to the table for us except their good word, which I don't know what it's worth when you look at how this project's gone so far. And it gets frustrating after a while when we hear these words, economic development, housing, veterans, which I'm all for, but they use these key words on us, and then we have to just blindly go with it and say yes. And at some point, we have to start doing our due diligence. If we ever did, I think you'd find people start showing up again. But until we become a real legislature and we start applying real diligence, real questions and follow-up, and make sure we get the best deal on behalf of the people aren't going to pay any attention to us until we do. But we hear from them, but we never truly fight for them. And this is just another example of it. There was a lot of approvals. When we sent that property over to this Housing Corp, we thought that whatever we were going to do, this demo was going to be paid for, that we weren't going to use tax dollars. Here we are using tax dollars with no problems.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes with the following noes. Legislators Erner, Walter, Maloney, and Gavaris.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted, 19-4. Resolution 341 was moved to consent. Resolution 343 was postponed in the Ways and Means Committee. The next resolution was pulled from consent. Was that 344?
It was.
It was. 344, I think we're actually good with that. 344, adopting revised Ulster County fund balance policy.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes with one no. Legislator Maloney.
Legislator Maloney, are you a yes?
That's right. Then we are a short yes.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted, 23-0. Resolution 345, adopting proposed local law number 1 of 2022, a local law amending the code of the County of Ulster, Chapter 131, Vehicles, Article 1, Sustainable Green Fleet Policy in relation to strategies and goals.
On the resolution?
We are a short yes with one no. Legislator Maloney.
We're a short yes with 3 noes. Legislators Lopez, Roberts, and Ronk.
The resolution is adopted, 19-4. The next resolution is a bond resolution authorizing the issuance of an additional $340,000 bonds of the County of Ulster, New York, to pay part of the cost of the purchase of the replacement maintenance equipment at the Ulster County Community College campus at SUNY Ulster Stone Ridge in and for said county. Bartels? Yes. Cahill?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Criswell?
Yes.
Erner?
Yes.
Fabiano?
Yes.
Gavaris?
Yes.
Green? Yes. Hanset? Yes. Hefner?
Yes.
Hewitt?
Yes.
Levine?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Maloney?
No.
Nolan? Yes. Petit? I'm a no on this. Roberts? Yes. Ronk?
Yes.
Sperry? Yes. Stewart?
Yes.
Uchitel?
Yes.
And Walter? Yes. The resolution is adopted 21 to 2. The next resolution is Resolution 349. That was taken out of consent, and that is approving the execution of a contract for $63,495 entered into by the county, the Offset House, Inc., doing business as Catamount Color Department of Tourism.
On the resolution? Legislator Hewitt.
Thank you, Chair Bartels. I just want to start by saying I appreciate Director Berger and the Department of Tourism and the presentation that she did about the travel guide and the importance of having a travel guide for our county. They work hard there, and I've worked with them in the past, and I think the travel guide is beautiful and important. I am a yes on this, but we were told that the $64,495 pays for the travel guide. That amount of money also can afford a full-time ad salesperson to sell all of their ads, and Director Berger said they sold all of their ads in this issue, which shows Director Berger believes in local business. But we also learned that 90% of our advertising for Ulster County is going to Amazon ads and Spotify ads. All of that money is leaving our region, even though our local businesses are supporting the travel guide with their money. I recommend flipping to 90% local advertising in regional travel guides like Explore Hudson Valley or Visit Vortex to support the hardworking publishers in our county. We have a guide, Director Berger said that we have a guide to tell our message our way. That's like owning a farm and funding it every year to show the right way to do farming. I am pointing out that the media already exists in our county. We just need to shift our funding and messaging to support local business owners because they're the heart of this economy. Thank you.
Legislator Maloney.
Yeah, you know, for years I've been talking about this with regards to tourism spending where we can't pick winners and losers with tax dollars. In an economic development meeting a month or so ago, the head of tourism referred to a local campground as a partner with the county. We got 50, 60, 100, 150 campgrounds. How can we start promoting one over others? Where does that end? If we want to promote campgrounds, we have to have a campground map and give access to every campground in Ulster County. I'm not saying we don't do things like that, but we don't choose certain people. And when you follow who these people are, it's usually relationship driven or who's reached out. You know, I remember getting on the county website, it always made me uncomfortable to see certain businesses getting awards and pictures of certain businesses. And then I'd look them up, $75,000 donor to the executive at the time, and their business name and featured on the county website. That's not right. Now we're going to buy a 50-acre brownfield from them. But the point is, you can't have winners and losers. There has to be equity with regards to advertising businesses with tax dollars. And unfortunately, this guide doesn't do that. So I just have to be a no and hope that in the future we make sure that we're being fair and we're reaching out to every campground before we refer to one as a business partner and help promote their business. By doing that, you're hurting another business. I just think we got to take a step back and look at that. Whether we ever will, I don't know. But until we do, I'll be a no when I feel like we're picking winners and losers.
On the resolution?
We are a short yes with one no. Legislator Maloney.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted, 22 to 1. The next resolution is Resolution 351, authorizing the Department of Planning to submit an application to the New York State Climate Smart Communities Grant Program for renewable energy equipment at the Golden Hill Housing Site, Department of Planning.
Legislator Maloney.
I guess I'll explain my no, though I mentioned it before. This is a grant that's for public housing. We've had to contact the state over and over again to make sure that they're going to kind of give us some loopholes here. We don't even know if this Penrose developer is going to work out. To get this grant, we've now had to agree to purchase all the equipment, which we weren't going to do before. What if all this goes awry? Where along the way, are we purchasing it first? Or what are we going to do with it? I mean, are we thinking through on these things? It's supposed to be a matching grant, which would mean, in theory, Penrose would put in some money, but we know that's never going to happen. That doesn't happen here with this Golden Hill project. Even though we're giving them the property for free, even though they're getting tens of millions of dollars in state grants and tax credits, even though we're doing the demo now, it doesn't matter. Even though we're going to do another appraisal and we're not going to follow whatever that appraisal says because we don't have to, and that was admitted in a committee meeting tonight. What if the appraisal comes in high? You don't, according to your bylaws, you don't have to go with that appraisal, do you? No, we don't. So this is just another thing we're doing for this developer. I don't quite understand it. And on top of it, the matching funds aren't going to come from the developer. We've now, after trying to use the demo as their matching funds, the state told us no. We're now going to try to figure out a way. A lot of it seems to be the equipment we may be buying, but whatever. The green, we're going to up what their original plan was with equipment, better, even greener equipment, and then the difference in that price is going to be. I mean, we just keep figuring out ways to get this developer, this billion-dollar developer, every last penny we can, and we're supposed to be representing the taxpayer. I just don't understand what could come before this body with regards to Golden Hill and Penrose for us to ever say no. I don't know what they could possibly ask for that we would actually say no, because I just keep seeing things roll along, and we just keep saying yes. June 21st, by the way, this grant was out there starting in April or May. Why are we hearing about it at the last minute when we don't even have time to postpone? Oh, well, we'll lose it. Why aren't we looking to Elizabeth Manor? Why aren't we looking to other county-owned properties, real public housing, to put this equipment on and get this grant for? Why not? Why for the developer? I don't know, but we're just going to keep pushing it through because somewhere along the line there's going to be affordable housing, and we can't be a no on affordable housing.
Legislator Nolan.
Thank you very much. This is a private-public partnership that has quite a bit of public benefit, huge public benefit in many areas. And there's a small percentage, a very small percentage, that is asked for from the public to contribute to this project. It has changed as the proposal is being put together. And because we have been involved in that process, we've seen those changes. So the fact that we've said yes to changes that allow for things like making sure we have a solar system on this public housing makes a lot of sense to me. And I think it's pure speculation to say that because we said yes on some things that we like, that we will never say no. We are evaluating things. We have asked for an additional appraisal. It seems like we're doing due diligence, and the fact that the decision of the body hasn't gone in a particular direction doesn't mean there's no due diligence. It means that there's a majority of the body that has approved of the changes. So I think we should be clear in our thinking about this. We should look at each step and decide whether or not we feel they are acceptable. We feel the changes are acceptable.
Legislator Erner?
Thank you. I'm going to support this. This is an application for us to possibly get this award from the state. That said, my concerns about the project overall continue, which is why I'm happy to hear that I'll look forward to a presentation to this body that the public can attend, that the executive and the developer I would like to hear from concerning it. As far as the resolution speaking to mixed income, intergeneration, and workforce housing, I do have assurances that's what the project is intended to continue to be. That said, low-income housing is a qualification to receive the grant, so we'll see if the state considers this project to qualify. And just for the record, I would like the project to go to those who are most in need in Ulster County, and to see that the housing that we get excuse me, is permanently affordable. Thank you.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes with one no. Legislator Maloney.
We're a short yes.
The resolution is adopted 22-1. Resolution 359, amending the 2022 Ulster County budget to realign salaries and create a deputy chief ADA and a justice courts and diversion unit chief.
Legislator Ronk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am going to be a no on this resolution. I know that some folks are pointing out that it's a small cost. It's like $2,500 increase this year, but that's not the total increase. When you hire somebody, you don't hire them for now, you don't hire them for next year, you hire them for moving into the future. There's no sunset on these positions, so we're going to be paying more money for them in next year's budget, which comes out in a couple of months, and then more money and more money and more money on and on and on in perpetuity. One thing that has been concerning me for a couple of years now is the unprecedented investment that this legislature has made in the district attorney's office that I don't believe would be happening if Holly Carnwright were still our district attorney. Every year, Holly Carnwright would come and ask for a little bit more money for his ADAs, a little bit more money for his ADAs. Not one, not two, not a deputy chief, not an assistant deputy chief, but for all of his ADAs, which we had long all agreed were underpaid compared to their compatriots in other counties and other departments in the county which has attorneys. And every year he was told no. Since then, Mr. Clegg has become our district attorney, and we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars more in his office, citing things like bail reform and discovery reform and all kinds of different reasons. But not to borrow a comment from Legislator Maloney from earlier, but we just don't seem to say no to this district attorney, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why the change, because not a lot has changed. Some things have changed in our criminal justice system. Some of the things that changed our criminal justice system were things that Mr. Clegg campaigned for in his campaign as district attorney as positive things, like discovery reform. But here we are, and we're going to spend more of the taxpayers' money over and over again on this office. And I will tell you, we're consolidating a couple of positions to create these. Would not surprise me if in a couple of months we're not seeing a budget amendment in November to add positions back. And for those reasons and many more, I'll be a no.
Legislator Walter.
Thanks. So I worked pretty closely with the public defender and the district attorney before I was a legislator. So I spent a lot of time with Holly and heard how desperate he was to have more money for his department. I think it's a shame that he got all those no's. If I was on the legislature then, I would have voted yes for those because I respect that he knows what he needs to do to run his office correctly. So I don't think we should hold against our current DA the fact that we're allowing him to right-size his department because it wasn't done that way for the previous DA. I think that's a shame that Holly had to struggle with that. Like I said, I heard about his struggles all the time, and it's too bad. But now we have the opportunity to allow our current DA to fix it, and whoever continues to be our DA, we should continue to do that kind of support for because they're the ones who understand how to do this and run their office the right way. And so I'm very supportive of this. Thanks.
Legislator Maloney.
With regards to Holly, previous term of mine, we actually got, I believe I sponsored that and was a no on the floor. And some of the reasons we were going to kick it down the road like we like to with excuses, and there was going to be a salary study, which I'm still waiting for. But I had done my own salary study, and 10 minutes later, after reading off how poorly funded the ADAs were, some of these ADAs were, we got a couple of raises for some much deserving people. And I think I agree with Ken how much politics plays into this. And this is where, I guess, seem to be more comfortable saying things that I think need to be said, and they're not said enough in government. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. We've got, 5 murders not prosecuted, shooting charges released after ADA withdrew request for bail, dismissal of attempted murder indictment after DA's office failed to notify suspects on required topics, release of murder suspect from jail because deadline to present case passed, dismissal of murder charges against an individual after DA's office refused to participate in prosecution. I just heard recently there was a multi-million-dollar white-collar crime, that the firm themselves did all the internal investigation. They had the person dead to rights. I think there may have even been a plea deal, but for some reason the DA took too much time from what I'm hearing, and this person's going to walk. I can't keep hearing these things and agree to something without, I'm to the point where should we have a special meeting and invite the DA in to go over this? I got 4 kids in this county. I can't listen to this anymore. I can't open up the paper and see these things that keep happening in our DA's office and look at us all here. We're just going to approve it. We're not going to ask what's going on in the DA's office. Nobody has the backbone because we all talk about it privately. We all hear it from our constituents. What's going on with the DA's office? Well, I don't want to look somebody in the eye when it's one of these people that gets off, rips them off, or worse, or hurts somebody. When are we going to do our job? Any of us. I don't care if it's the executive, the comptroller. I want to know not just what I'm reading in the paper about people getting off. I want to know if there's more that we don't know about. Is there? Are we just not going after certain things? Have we given up on white-collar crime? What's going on here in this county? And when are we going to stand up and require better? So I'm going to be a no on this because I don't know if I'd even get a return on my investment here. We need a bigger conversation right now. And if Albany's too political to do it because there's a mechanism for Albany to step in, but they're not gonna, why? Because of politics. We're not saying anything. Why? Because of politics. I didn't get elected to come up here and feel comfortable around everybody. I got elected to come up here and speak for the people. And if I'm the only one that's going to do it, then I'll be the only one to do it on this. But I know everyone in this room has had this conversation, but they're not doing it publicly. So this will continue.
Legislator Nolan.
Yes, I don't understand the rationale to withhold a salary increase for an office that is being said to that we want improvements. And I also believe that the motivations for dealing with this are really, again, this is very speculative for somebody else to talk about my motivations or the motivations of any other representative elected here by their communities. I have had conversations with the district attorney, and I'm satisfied with the changes that are proposed and that have been in motion. And I think we should all, again, do our due diligence and pursue the course we think is right. But to me, that means making these changes that will help improve the efficiency of the office and continue moving the office in a direction towards community policing and methods of interaction with the community that are shown to be effective in communities around the country. So it's a process. It doesn't happen right away. Some of the specifics that were cited here tonight happened following very early on the term of the prior DA. I think that we have to really look at where we're trying to go and what will get us there. So I'm a yes on this resolution, and I appreciate the efforts of the entire office to serve us here in Ulster County.
Legislator Ron.
Thank you. I was going to leave my comments at what they were, but one of the arguments that I heard at our Ways and Means Committee last week was that this position of the deputy assistant is deputy chief assistant is to do administration. Is that there's not enough, that they need more help with oversight of the office. And the concern I have with that is that we've got a district attorney who's paid more than $200,000 to administer the office. That's the main job of the district attorney, is to be the big cheese, the head guy of all of the other ADAs. And then we have a chief assistant district attorney whose job it would seem is in part to aid the district attorney in that, who makes more than $100,000. Now we're up to another $100,000 position to assist the assistant who assists the district attorney. I don't see it. I don't understand that rationale. To me, that is a poor argument on why it's needed. Another thing is, if it's needed, then we do it during budget time, like many of the other things that we change, for budget time, including last year when we gave the district attorney $100,000 more staff. Last year before the budget and during the budget, including reclassifications that didn't happen as a result of the desk audit, which is what you do when you reclassify positions that are civil service. The sheriff, when the sheriff wants to come and reclassify a position in civil service, he comes hat in hand with the desk audit, because that's what you do. You go to personnel and say, I think that this person deserves a different title because of X, Y, and Z. You do a desk audit. They go, they examine what that person's doing, they examine that against the title, and then they say, you know what, you're right, it shouldn't be this title, it should be this title. Now again, the titles are one thing, but we all know that these titles come with more money. We're not doing things the right way here, and I gotta agree with Joe. It looks like politics that now we have people, and again, I heard from Legislator Walter, I appreciate her comments that if she were here back when Holly were a district attorney, that she would have voted for those, things he was asking for back then. But I'm not hearing that from any of the members of the Democratic caucus that were here then, that I would have voted, well, then why didn't you when you were here? Because I was on Ways and Means, and I would put every year, Holly would ask for X, Y, and Z. He'd come with a detailed explanation of why. He would come with comparables from other counties. He would come with comparables from other departments. And he would say, I'm losing ADAs to the public defender's office, and to social services, and to Dutchess County, and to Dutchess County, and to Dutchess County. And everyone would say, oh, sorry, not this year. I'm sorry, not this year. I'm sorry, not this year. Over and over and over again. And Joe's right. When he was here last, we were able to get a couple of these passed. But again, I'm hearing from people who weren't here saying I would have voted for it. I'm still not hearing from people who were here who didn't vote for it and now are. So again, it looks like it's talking Quacks like a duck, he probably is a duck.
Legislator Petit.
Is it on? Okay. Thank you. I think my concerns more so with this resolution are we do have a budget, and we have a budget cycle. And in 4 months, we will be making a decision on our 2023 budget. I have not seen what the salaries are for other counties. I would like to see that salary study that we've been talking about for many years. Also, I would like to see the impacts, not just with this department, but the impacts of taking early retirement for all of the departments. You know, I'm being told that Bridges has lost 50% of their staff, and social services had, 40 people retire. And I think now we're seeing that there are impacts, but I'm not ready to make those decisions until I have more time to take a look at it, to digest the numbers of the other counties, and to make sure that this isn't the only department that needs the additional staff. But it is the only department that's come to us. I believe this is the third time. So I'm just not ready at this time to vote on it. I would like to wait for the budget cycle.
On the Legislator Roberts.
Yeah, I think my colleague Legislator Petit is onto something. I'd like to see a salary study too, comparison to other counties. With that said, I'd make a motion to postpone this back to committee.
Which committee, Legislator?
Jurisdiction, law enforcement.
Law enforcement. There's a motion on the floor to refer back to committee, to the Committee of Law Enforcement, seconded by Legislator Petit. On the motion to refer,
Oh, we need a long roll.
would anyone like to speak before a long roll on the referral? Okay, we'll go with a long roll on the referral.
On the motion to refer Resolution 359 back to the Law Enforcement and Public Safety Committee, Bartels?
No.
Cahill?
No.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Criswell?
No.
Erner?
Yes.
Fabiano?
Yes.
Guveris?
Yes.
Green? No. Hanset? No. Hefner?
No.
Hewitt?
No.
Levine?
No.
Litz?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Maloney?
Yes.
Nolan?
No.
Petit?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Ronk?
Yes.
Sperry? No. Stewart? Uchitel?
No.
And Walter? The motion to refer is defeated by a vote of 10 to 13.
On the resolution.
Resolution, we are a short yes with the following noes, Legislator Petit and Maloney.
On the resolution, we're a short no with the following yeses, legislators Hanset and Lopez.
The resolution is adopted 16 to 7. The next resolution was 378. That was moved to consent. The next resolution was pulled from consent and brought into non-consent. That's Resolution 379. And that resolution is approving the execution of a contract amendment for $72,856 entered into by the County Family of Woodstock, Inc., Department of Mental Health.
Legislator Maloney.
This is just about the conflict of interest inside the, there's two conflict of interests, and I think residents over in the city of Kingston have filed ethics charges, have yet to heard anything, but to me it's a blatant conflict on the Housing Corporation, and it involves the president of Family of Woodstock overseeing a project that then awarded Family of Woodstock a contract. So just a statement no. I know Family does a lot of good things, but I do think this is a conflict, and I feel like this statement no is representing the people over there on Glen Street that have taken great issue with it, and I think it's a legitimate issue. And it easily has the perception of a conflict, and that's a conflict.
Okay, on the resolution?
We are a short yes with one no, Legislator Maloney.
The resolution is adopted 22-1. The next 4 resolutions are bond resolutions. Resolution 384, authorizing the restoration of the Hall of Records roof in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $560,600, and authorizing the issuance of $560,600 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof. Bartels.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
Erner. Fabiano.
Yes.
Caveras.
Yes.
Green. Yes. Hanset. Hepner.
Yes.
Hewitt.
Yes.
Levine.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez. Maloney.
No.
Nolan. Yes. Petit.
I am a no on this one as well. I'd like to explain my no votes very quickly. We have 34 million in surplus sales tax. We have 50-some million over in our reserves. Instead of going out and paying for investors and bond agencies, especially since we have the money coming in through grants, we should just pay it outright. It'll take months to get the grant funding in. So I am a no.
Roberts.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
Sperry. Stewart. Uchitel. And Walter. The resolution is adopted 21-2. Resolution 388, authorizing the replacement of a large culvert on Awasting Road, County Route 109A in the town of Shongum, in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $60,000, and authorizing the issuance of $60,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof. Bartels.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
Erner. Fabiano.
Yes.
Caveras. Green. Hanset. Hepner.
Yes.
Hewitt. Levine.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez. Maloney. Nolan. Petit. Roberts.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
Sperry. Stewart. Uchitel. And Walter. The resolution is adopted 21-2. Resolution 390, authorizing embankment stabilization of Route 28A, County Route 50, in the town of Hurley, New York, in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $300,000, and authorizing the issuance of $300,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof. Bartels.
Yes.
Cahill. Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
Erner. Fabiano.
Yes.
Gaveras. Green. Hanset. Hepner.
Yes.
Hewitt.
Yes.
Levine.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez. Maloney.
No, for the reasons that Laura described, and I know the Chair of Ways and Means is working on a policy to make sure that when we bond, it's only when it's financially beneficial, and or at least I believe he is, and when that's in, I'll start being a yes on bonding.
Nolan.
I'm a yes, and I want to express my appreciation to the process outlined by the Chair of Ways and Means, John Guerreras, and the process involves looking into this and protecting our financial interest. I'm satisfied to proceed with these bonds until we get information that says that that's not in our financial interest.
Petit. No. Roberts.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
Sperry. Stewart.
Yes.
Uchitel.
Yes.
And Walter. The resolution is adopted 21-2. Resolution 395, authorizing purchase of buses for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,991,807, and authorizing the issuance of $2,991,807 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof. Bartels.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Criswell.
Yes.
Erner.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gaveras.
Yes.
Green. Hanset.
Yes.
Hepner.
Yes.
Hewitt.
Yes.
Levine.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez. Maloney.
No.
Nolan. Petit.
No.
Roberts.
No.
Ronk.
So on this resolution, I'm going to be a no. I'm going to start being a no on a lot of things relating to UCAT. You know, there's one bus that comes to my district every day, comes at 7:30 in the morning, arrives back at 4:30 in the afternoon. Don't know exactly who that route is designed for. But, you know, that's the only bus that comes there. Legislator Lopez has 0 buses that come to his district. You know, 0. The only way you can get that is to cross the mountain or to, you know, cross Orange County and come back to my district where you can get it at 7:30 in the morning and deliver you back at 4:30 in the afternoon. I guess anything else will walk back. You know, I'm just going to be no on UCAT.
Sperry. Stewart. You should tell.
I'll just mention, as I vote on this, that I look forward to working with anyone who has issues with UCAT. There are a number of us that are working on UCAT issues right now, and there is a new director. We definitely see a lot of opportunities to improve, and I look forward to collaborating on that with everyone in this body. And I'm a yes on this resolution.
Walter. Yes. The resolution is adopted 19-4. The last resolution this evening is 398, authorizing the County of Ulster to increase the allocation of sales tax distributed to the towns pursuant to Section 4 of the Sales Tax Agreement with the City of Kingston, Department of Finance.
Legislator Walter.
Jay? Thanks. So I just want to say first, briefly, I'm glad about this resolution. While I may be among the minority, it was very important to me to look at the sales tax agreement that we had and passed a year and a half ago. I do feel like strongly that more of a larger proportion of sales tax money should be going to the municipalities. And should I be around next time the agreement comes, I will continue to work towards that. But in the meantime, this is a good consolation. And with that, I just propose amendments as presented in your packet.
Is there a second on the
I'll
amendment?
second.
Thank you. On the amendments, Legislator Ronk?
Thank you. I want to, you know, agree with Legislator Walter. You know, I think that there's definitely room for improvement here. One of the places I think there's a big piece of room for improvement is that, you know, the towns are receiving, you know, the extra 1%, but it's all on the backs of the county. It's my personal opinion that the city of Kingston should be in for their 11.5% of the extra 1% the towns are getting, because they got the same windfall that the county's gotten and don't have any skin in the game here when it comes to giving money back to the towns. You know, additionally, you know, I want to be careful while we talk about overages and sales tax, because you know, the comptroller came to Ways and Means today and talked about how you know, our last check came in significantly lower than we had expected it to. You know, 7 figures significantly. And, you know, that's going to affect a lot of these, you know, record numbers, and we have all this money we should be spending out of cash and whatnot. So I think before we start spending money that we don't have or money that we won't have for long, we should, you know, think long and hard about the fluctuations in sales tax and how you know, the winds blow, and, you know, inflation, you know, and people being concerned about it's definitely going to have an impact on people's consumer confidence and purchasing power. So lastly, I'd just like to, you know, personally thank Supervisor Jim Quigley and Supervisor Association that pushed so hard for this. Supervisor Quigley also was a great deal of the impetus behind the amendment we see before us tonight to ensure that the towns get the money that was promised to them, you know, as quickly as they can and from the proper year. So I know that, you know, he doesn't get a lot of, you know, credit when these things come through. I just want to thank him for it.
On the amendment? Oh,
Oh, no, not on the amendment.
okay. On the amendment? On the resolution as amended, Legislator Maloney.
I'd just like to say I'm in total agreement with what Legislator Walter and Ken just said. And this sales tax agreement, probably, my town probably gets hurt, treated unfairly, probably second to only the town of Ulster, where Saugerties is virtually the same size, population-wise, as the city of Kingston. We have more and more safety net. We have homeless shelters, rehabs. We're struggling. Our property taxes are out of control. And we're getting about less than $500,000 out of sales tax, while we may even produce almost as much as the city of Kingston. And the city of Kingston gets about 17.5, 18 million every year. That's why I got young families moving out of Saugerties, where they'd like to be, where they were raised, and into the city of Kingston, because the property taxes are so different there. And we could be a little more fair. And I hope the legislature that's here during the now, we could look for an out clause. I haven't looked hard at that contract. I requested it. I have to take a look at it. But we've let the city of Kingston get out of control. I think if you trace it back many years, it was for revitalization. It was never meant to stay that heavy towards the city of Kingston. I know I'll get blowback from city of Kingston, but the truth of the matter is the rest of these municipalities are not getting their fair share. So I do hope it's something that enough legislators are willing to get to the table. It's going to be a big fight, but we have to make this sales tax agreement more fair in this next agreement.
Legislator Rowe?
Thanks. I don't disagree with Legislator Maloney's sentiments about the sales tax agreement, but we're really, sort of, going over a waterfall on a barrel with it, because we really don't have a choice. But the contract with the city of Kingston at terms that will be agreeable to them, because preemption, which is what the city can do as the only appropriated city in our county, would hurt everybody. It would hurt the city of Kingston, it would hurt the county too. So it's one of those sort of, the trick you can only do once, because, we've seen what happens when we tempt that agreement back when we lost our extra percentage of the sales tax because of it. I do want to say that every town, has it been off the whole time? Excellent. I do want to say that every town gets hurt differently, because there are some towns with a larger population that have a large retail base and things like that, where they generate a lot of the sales tax. But I'll tell you a little bit about my town. So the town of Shongum, when going to union contract and when going to arbitration, one of the big comparables that they use is the town of Crawford. The town of Shongum borders the town of Crawford on 1 1/4 sides, I guess you'd call it. The town of Crawford has roughly the same population, roughly the same rural makeup, similar across the board. So that's what they use for a comparable. One thing that they don't take into account is that the town of Crawford gets somewhere in the area of $2.5 million from the county of Orange in sales tax sharing. Now what I'll tell the legislature and those listening is the same thing I tell the firefighters when they were talking about the fire training center and all these other things that people talk about. Orange County has better, Orange County has better. Orange County also has Woodbury Commons, which generates more sales tax revenue than Ulster County on a yearly basis. But yet again, here we are. Town of Crawford gets between $2 and $2.5 million in sales tax sharing from the county. Town of Shongum gets somewhere in the area of $250,000. So we get 10% of the sales tax sharing as a town roughly our same size and makeup does. But the town of Shongum is still having to bid against them when going to union contracts, and quite frankly, for employees and things of that nature, because Crawford can afford to pay more. So we all have struggles. So saying one town gets hurt worse or one town makes out better isn't necessarily the way to look at it, because there's a lot of ways to look at that. I do hope in the future that we're able to do a little bit more sharing with the towns. Even if it's in the form of shared services and whatnot. We've got a great DPW. It'd be great to work better on bridge construction and revitalization and culverts and stuff. I know the town of Shongum right now is dealing with a culvert problem that the county could probably handle lickety split, but we're probably going to have to contract with a company for a lot more money than the county could do it for. I mean, things like that, looking outside the box in ways to make things even. I don't want to use the word even because that's not really fair, but I agree with Legislator Maloney's sentiment, but we really don't have a choice on the sales tax sharing agreement. That's why I've always supported it. even though I really do feel like the towns in the county get a bit of the shaft.
Legislator Maloney, did you want to speak for the second time?
There's a very simple solution there, and then we'll let this go, but you figure out how much the city of Kingston would get if they went out on their own, which we can figure out. It's very simple math. We can get those numbers. Then you go to the negotiating table, and let's just pick a number. Let's say they get 15. You give them a hair more than 15, and then you disperse the rest fairly amongst the towns. It's very easy. They're not going to walk away because they're getting more, and they'd be causing mayhem. So let's figure that out, and the next time we negotiate and give them a fairer number. And then the towns that deserve a little more get a little more, and they don't walk away. But right now, we don't do that.
Legislator Levine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to say that I agree with a lot of Legislator Maloney's sentiments. I share a lot of his concerns, but I also appreciate a lot of the comments made by Legislator Walter and Legislator Ronk as well. And I appreciate Supervisor Baden coming here tonight and his comments, and I'm very appreciative also of the work of Supervisor Baden, Supervisor Costello of the town of Saugerties, and the chair of the Supervisors Association, Supervisor Quigley of the town of Ulster. I'm not going to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I have some concerns about this agreement, but it's better than what the current status quo is. So I'll be supportive of it, and I'm appreciative again of the supervisor coming tonight and expressing the support of the Supervisors Association. That means a lot to me. So hopefully going forward we can use this this agreement, if we support this tonight, as a starting off point for future negotiations to really make sure that the towns are taken care of, especially as Legislator Maloney said, the towns that are really bringing in a lot of the sales tax revenue. So this is a start, it's not the end, but it's a good first step, so I will be supportive of it. Thank you.
On the resolution?
On the resolution, we are a short yes.
On the resolution, we're a short yes as well.
The resolution is adopted as amended, 23-0.
We'll now open the floor to public comment on topics that were not before us in the packet. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
There is not.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak that didn't sign up on a topic that was not before us this evening? Okay. All right, so I'd like to call upon Legislator Hansett to read tonight's memorials.
July meetings are adjourned in memory of Arnold J. Zappel, Kingston; Lorraine K. Klein, Olive Bridge; Harold D. Krakenberg, Catskill; Elsa B. Mosier, Bloomington; Angela D. LaFera, Rosendale; James R. Jackson, Jr. of Saugerties; Marcia J. McManigo, Somerville, South Carolina; George Ulbrich of Accord; Evelyn Wilkesman Young of Ruby; Grace G. Schoonmaker, Gardner; Ralph Appa Sr., Kingston; Barbara K. Genther, Town of Ulster; Norman W. Rice, West Hurley; Robert Green, Florida; Sean M. Burke of Highland; Nicholas T. Capolino of Highland; Les Denisar of Newburgh; Richard Piskin of Marlborough; Carl DiLiberto of Marlborough; Paul A. Trice, Mount Marion; and Daniel Carpinelli of New Paltz. I'd just like to take a moment to speak about New Paltz police officer Daniel Carpinelli, who was 44. He served proudly the citizens of New Paltz for 20 years as a patrolman and an investigator. Known as Carp, He had a smile and attitude that could easily calm and reassure in troubled situations. Our thoughts and hearts go out to his wife, Gina, and the entire Carpinelli family, the town of New Paltz Police Department, and the entire New Paltz community as a whole. Rest easy, Officer Carpinelli, and to watch Shield 133.
Thank you. Before we adjourn tonight's meeting, I would just like to remind everyone that between now and when we see each other next, the Ulster County Fair will be at the fairgrounds at 249 Libertyville Road. That's August 3rd through August 7th. Everyone received an invitation to the opening ceremonies and a tour with the 4-H'ers, which I would recommend highly if you haven't done it before. It's really special and reminds us about the history of ag in our community. They really keep it alive, so please consider joining. Legislator Green, did I miss an addition?
Yeah, I just want to say that again this year we're doing Climate Row and a Green Living Expo. 1/4 of the main tent is dedicated to climate solutions and sustainability. This comes out of the Ulster County Climate Smart Committee. And if you know of any vendors that would like to be associated with climate solutions, we have, for example, Rycor. I've invited Hannaford, possibly Bread Alone Bakery, but businesses that are already practicing, climate solutions in their, or providing services. So I just want to spread the word, put them in touch with me or Kim Mayer, and we'll get them on board. So please go through the main tent and look for our climate solutions education.
Thank you, Legislator Green. Is this an addition, Legislator Criswell?
I'm sorry?
Are you offering an addition to the adjournment?
No. I just wanted to mention something, if I may.
I'll give a little latitude, but it wasn't, if everyone understood, it wasn't my intention to open the floor to public comment. It wasn't my intention to open the floor to public comment, but if everyone will entertain for a moment, we'll
Thank you. It just will take 1 second. I just wanted to remind everybody that there was a memo that everybody got tonight in hard copy, and it went out via email, and I'd really appreciate your comments, so thank you.
Thank you. It's related to ARPA. It's very critical. Thank you all. Our next legislative session will be on Tuesday, August 16th, 7 p.m. Regular 244 Fair Street Legislative Chambers. Resolution deadline is Friday, July 22nd.
Madam Chairwoman, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.